I do not accept this one incident that we had this past weekend, and I'm definitely not going to let it define us.
Let me be clear, crystal clear. That was a violent encounter. It makes me sick to watch it over and over again.
In light of recent violence, state troopers will now soon be doing some of the things Cincinnati police officers usually do. Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Pureval accepted Ohio Governor Mike DeWine's offer for troopers to focus on traffic enforcement, freeing up Cincinnati officers to investigate other crimes.
The first 3 suspects arrested in connection with Saturday morning's brawl spent the morning in court. Montanez Merriweather, Jermaine Matthews, and Takira Vernon are all charged with felonious assault and aggravated rioting.
We're still working on what led up to it. There's a lot of, they started this. There's a lot of people that say they started this.
Investigators say Montanez Merriweather is the guy in the black shirt seen punching a man from behind, and Jermaine Matthews is in the red.
We have Mr. Merriweather coming up behind the victim, striking him in the side of the face from behind.
So you would call this like a surprise?
So this was more kind of like an ambush. The two of them are chasing. The victim's trying to retreat. They chase him in, get him onto the ground, where they begin to punch and kick him on the ground.
Montanez Merriweather, Takira Vernon, and Jermaine Matthews are the first 3 charged in connection to that fight, the video of which went viral.
Jermaine Matthews is the man who turned himself in overnight. He's 39 years old from Walnut Hills. He's allegedly the man in the red shirt in the video, punching and stomping a man. Matthews' attorney says he was involved in the fight because the man police refer to as the victim kicked Matthews' car and called him a racial slur.
Sees the same individual kicking his business vehicle. He confronts the guy and said, "What are you doing?" That's when, and this clip does exist on social media, it doesn't paint the whole picture, this white individual reaches over, says, "That's your car," and slaps my client in the face. That person, the alleged victim in this case, threw the first punch.
Takira Vernon is 24 years old and lives with her mother in Evanston. Her record up till now only included traffic tickets. You can see her in the video allegedly with the long curly hair attempting to hit one woman and then allegedly later hitting another woman from behind. That woman eventually gets knocked out.
The woman that was injured and knocked out, she was trying to render aid to another victim.
She was.
At the time.
She was rendering aid to another victim that was on the ground, trying to get him back to his feet. He's actually trying to get his pants back on because they beat his pants off of him. And while she's rendering aid to that gentleman there, that's when Miss Vernon comes up and strikes her in the face. There's for no reason at all.
34-year-old Montanez Merriweather is from South Cumminsville. He served 7 years in prison for armed robbery and was out on bond for 4 felony gun charges when the fight occurred.
We have Mr. Merriweather coming up behind the victim, striking him in the side of the face from behind.
So you would call this like a surprise?
So this was more kind of like an ambush.
We spoke with Merriweather's cousins after the hearing. They say the prosecution is distorting the facts and their cousin is not a bad guy.
He's a wonderful guy. He did his time, as they stated, but since he did his time, he has changed his life completely. Everything they're trying to point him out to be a thug, that is not him. So.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I saw him in the video, and he was pretty violent.
He was, but you'll be violent if somebody spit on you as well. You'll be violent if somebody called you a racial slur.
That woman had died.
Senator Bernie Moreno is talking about this moment near the end of the video.
You know, it's heinous. It's appalling.
Backing up a few hours, Moreno says the night started for Holly at dinner with her friends.
This is the first night out that she's had, and she can't remember when. She just wanted to have a nice dinner with friends. You've been there, right? And look, she went to downtown thinking, I'm going to enjoy some music and some friends and a nice time, and literally almost got killed, murdered.
Holly is in the middle of the crowd trying to break up the fight when she's punched and falls to the ground. Senator Moreno posted on X, sharing pictures of her face swollen and bruised.
You see the bruises that she's gotten concussions. She's having a hard time breathing. This is totally despicable. She's a good person. She's a mom of a special needs child who cares about her family.
Moreno says Holly is from this part of the state. She told Moreno she didn't get into an ambulance, but instead got a ride home.
She went home in an Uber. Think about that for a second. There was no ambulance called. She went home in an Uber that she called.
Jermaine Matthews faces additional charges, 2 counts of felonious assault and also assault. Investigators say Matthews is on video punching and stomping a victim and pulling an unconscious person into the middle of the street. Matthews' attorney says that his client was trying to move the person from in front of his car. The judge set bond on the new charges at $170,000. That's on top of a $100,000 bond that was set yesterday.
The people who live in the apartments above Love on 4th provided us this video and say it's like this every weekend. We requested police records for the address dating back 19 months when the bar first opened. We found 84 police calls to the bar. That's a police response every week. 27 noise complaints, 12 parking complaints, 7 fights disturbing the peace or reckless activity complaints, 2 assaults, 1 robbery, and various others. We asked the police chief why she isn't doing more to patrol that area if there are so many complaints there.
Because the geographical area of the central business section is more than just that corner. And we owe it to the entire community down there to cover as much geographical area as we can with the resources that we have.
At today's press conference, where city leaders addressed questions about the incident that occurred last weekend, Chief Teresa Thigi said there were 11 officers in the central business section between 2 and 4 a.m. that morning. It took the closest units 6.5 minutes to respond. We asked the mayor about civil enforcement at that location, given all the calls there.
What does it take to get some corrective action at that location?
It takes the city solicitor's office doing their investigation on the complaints, which is absolutely ongoing. And as that investigation proceeds and we actually have the facts about whether the complaints are justified and backed up by evidence, then we will of course take corrective action.
The city has a history of corrective action downtown. A recent city manager
Mayor Purval says the, quote, racial dynamics of this fight are unavoidable and that honest conversations are needed to ease the tension. But it was Pastor Damon Lynch who addressed the racial and political divisions head on.
2 combatants, 1 black, 1 white. A black man steps in, breaks it up. The white guy re-engages, slaps, not the black man that he had just squared up with, but slaps another black man. And nobody's asking, why didn't he just walk away?
Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi and Councilmember Scotty Johnson criticized what's been shared online, but police won't release all of the evidence because they say it could negatively impact their investigation.
So I don't see the slapper's mugshot. And so sadly, I have to agree with those who are politicizing this and racializing this. I have to agree with the Smithermans, the Ramaswamis, the Marinos, Corey Bowman. This is racial because it is unequal justice. And so until we see all the mugshots, this is still a racial issue.
The city wants to prove the national commentators wrong. Purval says when people go downtown, they're going to see a new bike patrol monitoring the Fountain Square district. The Civil Disturbance Response Team and SWAT will expand their footprint to include 4th Street.
We are prioritizing visibility in our urban core in order to not just maintain safety, but also to make sure that people feel safe when they're going out.
Thigi says she's asked for a committee to be created with the prosecutor's office and judges from all the Hamilton County courts to address what she calls a revolving door in the criminal justice system.
Our officers risk their life daily to remove violent offenders from the streets, only to see them released quickly and sometimes without consequences. This cycle must end.
Well, as we know, 6 people are facing charges in connection to the brawl in downtown Cincinnati last weekend that has garnered national attention. 4 of those people are in custody, including Jermaine Matthews, Dominique Kittle, Montanez Merriweather, and Takira Vernon. A new video given to us by Jay Blacks provides more context of what happened shortly before and after the fight.
The video begins with a group of men standing together. 2 of the men exchange heated words, getting ready to throw punches. 2 other men, including one in a black shirt and white pants, try to intervene. Shortly after, the Caucasian man in a white shirt is seen slapping a black man in a red shirt, believed to be Jermaine Matthews. The fight then spills into the street. That's when chaos erupts. Moments later, 2 men are seen lying in the street, one of them being the man in the white shirt. As he gets up, someone nearby is heard shouting a racial slur repeatedly. A crowd gathers around the man in a gray shirt still on the ground, with a man kicking him. After getting to his feet, the Caucasian man in gray pushes the man who kicked him onto the sidewalk, and both move back into the street. The brawl escalates again as the man who kicked the Caucasian man in the gray begins swinging and eventually throws a punch. The man in white pants from earlier can be seen following behind.
He's 62!
As more men surround the Caucasian man in gray, he can be heard yelling racial slurs in return. He then walks up to the person he claims was responsible for pushing him initially.
I didn't do it!
During the arraignments of one of the suspects, Jermaine Matthews, his lawyer says Matthews was involved in the fight because the man police refer to as the victim kicked Matthews' car and called him a racial slur.
All right, thanks, Katie. And the prosecutor plans to present the cases of the first 3 suspects to the grand jury Friday. Now, as we've mentioned, a 4th suspect in the downtown brawl is in jail tonight after facing a judge this morning. Dominic Kittle is facing charges of felonious assault and aggravated rioting. Prosecutors say Kittle attacked a man from behind and tried to take his wallet. When he was unsuccessful, prosecutors say he knocked someone out. Now, Kittle's attorney says Kittle has schizophrenia and was scared. He also brought up the lack of charges for a man seen throwing a punch in those videos online.
He's charged with an M1 and everybody got charged with the F4. Everybody that was involved except for the man that throws the first punch and the man that says the N-word multiple times to black people, which I find to be very
This
disgraceful.
is not the place to grandstand.
I'm not trying to grandstand, Your Honor, but I just think that
We're
those
here
are
setting
important
bonds.
things. I know, but we have to understand what happened to him that night and why he made these alleged decisions that he made. And I think that that's an important part of that story.
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for all of the love and support.
In a video shown on the Facebook page of conservative influencer Benny Johnson, Holly thanked people for their support.
It is very humbling that you have sent your prayers, your blessings. It's definitely what's keeping me going. And you have just brought back faith and humanity.
Another thing that will help Holly keep going is the Give, Send, Go campaign set up by Johnson. In just 3 days, it has raised more than $400,000, and it's still growing. This follows the punch Holly received a week ago Saturday from a man during the melee downtown. She and 5 other friends were walking through a crowd that had gathered outside a popular nightclub at about 3 a.m. when a fight broke out, ending with Holly getting punched in the face. The man who did it is one of 6 people police say are suspects in multiple assaults during the incident. He and a woman seen stomping a man on the ground appear to be the only 2 who have not been arrested.
Your Honor, he does have paranoid schizophrenia. He was scared and he's an impressionable person. That happened that night.
The 4th person arrested and charged appeared for his bond hearings on Saturday and again today. 37-year-old Dominique Kittle is now charged with assault, felonious assault, and aggravated riot. The 3 others who have already been arrested face the same charges.
Everybody that was involved except for the man that throws the first punch and the man that says the N-word multiple times to black people, which I find to be very
This is
disgraceful.
not the place to grandstand.
I'm not trying to grandstand, Your Honor, but I just think that
We're
those
here
are
setting
important
bonds.
things. I know, but we have to understand what happened to him that night and why he made these alleged decisions that he made.
The judge set bond at $290,000.
You're not allowed to have a gun.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
That bond, ironically, now affordable by the incident's most famous victim.
It's been very, very hard, and I'm still recovering. I still have a very bad brain trauma. It's thank you, everyone.
But what we are here to do is to talk about how we end the epidemic of violent crime spreading across this city.
The conversation started early Monday when Vivek Ramaswamy sat down with the mayor and police chief. He also talked with officers and business leaders.
I told them, and I'm going to keep the promise, that my conversation with them was going to be private.
The town hall was put together by Ramaswamy after video showing a violent brawl downtown was posted on social media.
Holly did not deserve what happened to her.
That we have a system that is now allowing repeat violent offenders in one way or another right back on the street to commit more crime.
Ramaswamy brought up a handful of solutions at Monday's town hall, starting with that transparency for judges.
That if they're letting people back on the streets, at least you ought to be able to know it, to be able to vote them out and actually hold them accountable.
He's calling for bail and bond reform to keep violent repeat offenders in prison.
Make sure that our jails are not the top form of psychiatric health care by reopening psychiatric hospitals to be able to treat those who actually need serious mental health.
Ramaswamy is also calling for a push in police recruitment.
Increase punishments where required, and to be able to actually have a culture that celebrates the enforcement of the rule of law rather than to villainize it with a tone that we set at the top.
Jeff Cramerding, the committee member who proposed the $2 million bump for public safety, said his city will not be divided over the brawl that occurred 10 days ago.
What happened has been polarized, and it has been racialized, and that is unacceptable.
So in response, Cramerding wants to make it clear no one can say city leaders are not providing enough money to public safety.
The fact is, as of today, there are some Cincinnatians that have less confidence in the safety of downtown than they did 10 days ago. So this motion is a step in addressing that by providing $2 million in reserves to address public safety.
Money would come from the general fund contingency account. The proposal gives examples of potential uses for the money, like funding overtime and increasing recruiting classes, walking and bike patrols, tech upgrades, and lighting and security cameras. But the emphasis seems to be on increasing police visibility. Cramerding said having 11 officers on duty for the entire downtown district at 3 a.m. on the night of the brawl was not enough, especially at the corner where there had been so many issues in the past.
Right by the new convention center, it's right by the new convention center hotel, it's down the street from Fountain Square, it's up the hill from the bank, so it's a critically important area.
But no one was there.
Yeah, this is putting the resources for police overtime or whatever's necessary to get more officers on the street. So it's critical that council did our part.
We still get a report on how the funds are being spent.
Some committee members concerned about the lack of oversight for how the money will be spent. We asked the same question.
So it sounds like you're giving the police a blank check for $2 million to spend how they want.
No, absolutely. The police chief and the manager will come back and report. Right now we're in summer recess. We're scheduled to come back after Labor Day. We can't wait that long.
Former CPD officer Scotty Johnson voted to release the funds.
So after this $2 million is gone, then what happens?
We keep digging. We keep digging. We are not going away from trying to make sure Cincinnati is safe, even with the perception of it. We have a safe city.
These heinous crimes have to stop.
Holly is speaking out as she continues to recover.
And the more that I think of it and the more that I have to rewatch the video and seeing my body on the ground and seeing how big and strong that man is. No, there's no justification, and I feel strongly about that.
Her injuries are still showing. She uses a cane to get around.
So I have my aunt as my caretaker because I literally my brain comes and goes a little bit, my memory, in my body, they call it the aftershock.
Holly says Patrick Rosemond, who was arrested in Georgia Monday, is the one who hit her.
I know I haven't slept in a while, and that at least took me out of fight or flight to where I was like, okay, I can relax.
Holly says she's got a clear mission.
How we can prevent this from happening to anybody else.
We're going to talk to some of our state legislators to see if we can put something in place that I call, with her permission, calling Holly's Act.
Senator Bernie Moreno wants to see mandatory minimum sentences and bail increased. He hopes that will serve as a deterrent.
The biggest thing that I think really upsets me is the desensitization of humans where there's a brutal attack, attempted murder in front of you, and they all think, oh, cool, let me get my phone and record it.
Holly wants to see penalties for people who take out their phone to record rather than call 911. Chief Teresa Thigi says only one person called for help.
I truly hope that in the future there's some sort of bill to where somebody has to be prosecuted or at least fined if they don't call 911 first to save someone's life.
Now, Senator Marino started his day meeting with city leaders. He talked with Mayor Pureval and Police Chief Thigi. The meeting came after Marino claimed he'd push to suspend federal funding if the city didn't come up with a safety plan.
The meeting didn't start well, but an important part is it ended well. And I think we ended in a spirit of cooperation. We exchanged cell phone numbers. I had a 35-minute phone call with the chief. I think everybody was given a homework assignment, including myself. And we're going to go back and say, how do we actually just fix? How do we move forward? We never want to see a picture like that ever again in any Ohio city.
Aisha Devon was processed at the Hamilton County Justice Center just this morning, but this may not be the end of potential charges being brought against people in this brawl.
We continue our live team coverage of both events today and where the city goes from here. David Winters starts us off this evening from the Justice Center. David.
That sixth suspect currently in jail behind me at the Hamilton County Jail. CPD says that its fugitive apprehension unit picked her up today. They also say that this investigation remains ongoing and there still may be more arrests coming. Police made the sixth arrest this morning just before 9 a.m. She is Aisha Devon, 26 years old, appears to be from or at least recently lived in Walnut Hills. She's charged with felonious assault and aggravated riot. Devon does have past arrest for theft. We believe that police are charging Devon because they believe she is the woman in white seen in this video stomping on one of the victims on the ground. The video from the brawl-turned-beating shows what happened Saturday, July 26th at 3 a.m. outside a bar called Love on 4th at 4th and Elm downtown. Police said that they had charged 6 suspects and now they have picked up all 6, all of them being African-American, part of the group that had been gathered outside the bar.
That should have been a one-on-one fight, as I'm a trained in martial arts and ex-boxer myself. Yeah, but not being attacked by 15 to 20 scumbag lowlifes, whatever. No, that part is wrong.
Several people at today's city council meeting spoke about the brawl and the city's response to it. Most of those who spoke upset that none of the people in the Caucasian group, especially the one seen on video slapping a black man, had been charged or arrested.
You have a white man who started the racism, spewing racial slurs and slapping a black man, and he still has not been charged. I am ashamed of you all.
We spoke with the vice mayor about the frustrations, and she shares them.
Personally, I expect him to be arrested, for sure. The message that we received was everybody who's responsible for this brawl will be brought to justice.
But she says people need to be patient.
While it doesn't look good, I think we have to trust the system. We have to trust our police to go through their investigation to be successful. Sometimes when you rush to do something before you have enough, you end up losing the case.
Aisha Devon appeared before a judge today. The public defender says she's a Cincinnati native who is a chef at the Great American Ballpark and also drives one of those golf cart style cabs at the banks. She has a 6-year-old daughter she cares for. She also has 2 previous theft felonies from about 6 years ago. Police say she is the woman in white in the widely seen videos. The assistant prosecutor described the 2 assaults he says she committed during the fight on 4th Street.
One was the woman who was knocked unconscious. She and others struck her about the face and head. And then the other one was a male victim where she repeatedly kicked, stomped him while he was on the ground. Judge, these are significant acts of violence.
I see all kinds of problems for the prosecution.
We spoke with defense attorney Stu Matthews.
I think it's a much tougher case to prosecute than it is to defend.
And defense attorney Jay Clark. Both agree these are tough cases to prosecute, especially with how Ohio changed its self-defense laws about 5 years ago.
If the defendant puts on some evidence that he acted in self-defense, that shifts the burden of the prosecutor to disprove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So they have to prove you did not act in self-defense.
And one could argue there is certainly enough video evidence showing at least one of the people police are calling a victim was not only ready to fight, but also slapped one of the defendants.
Obviously, if he gets slapped, that would be an assault. and you can defend yourself from that. Then the question becomes, was the amount of response reasonable?
And that's where at least some of the defendants may find some difficulty.
You have a right to defend yourself, but it stops at the point that the threat is no longer there.
The attorneys say who started the altercation may also play a role finding culpability, and that could be problematic, even though the prosecution says it has video proof.
They might have what they think shows the beginning. My understanding is it started in a bar with some inappropriate communication, and it went out into the street. That's where the problem may come in.
There are at least two sides to every story, and usually a whole lot more. We don't know exactly how this thing started.
Other factors come into play, like you can hear at least one of the Caucasian men yelling the N-word multiple times. There were 4 Caucasian men present, not just the one widely seen getting beaten. The attorneys say even the man who threw the punch that knocked out the woman known as Holly may have a defense.
She was making steps towards him, about the same distance we are. I don't know what was said or what happened to provoke it, and that's what we don't know.
So that might even be defensible.
It could be.
It's impossible to predict what a jury might do.
I would be surprised if there's maybe 1 or 2 convictions. That would be a lot, I would think.
Take a look at this guy in the photo. Police are looking for him following the July 26th violence in downtown. Detectives believe he stole a gold chain off a man's neck as the man was being beaten to the ground. Police say the suspect then steps away, puts the chain in his pocket, and proceeds to record the rest of the event.
All 6 of the people the Cincinnati police have arrested and charged for their part in the incident are now indicted. They are Dakira Vernon, 24 years old, Montana's Merriweather, 34, Aisha Devon, 26, Patrick Rosebaum, 39, Jermaine Matthews, 39, and Dominique Kittle, 37. Most, if not all, of the defendants are from Cincinnati. This is all related to that fight that broke out on July 26th on 4th Street downtown. This had turned into a racial incident as it occurred at 3 a.m. outside Love on 4th, a bar primarily patronized by African Americans. Dozens of black people had been hanging out on the sidewalk after the bar had closed at about 3 a.m. An altercation broke out between 6 Caucasian people, either starting in the bar earlier or perhaps outside. It quickly turned physical, with one of the white men getting knocked to the ground and then repeatedly punched and stomped by several African Americans. An African American man then punches in the face and knocks out one of the women in the Caucasian group. The video has been widely seen across the country, going viral and becoming a hot point for conservative politicians and influencers on social media. Now, following the release of the grand jury indictments this morning, prosecutor Connie Pillich put out a statement saying, "What I saw on video is not the Cincinnati I know and love. These charges hold those involved in the attack accountable." The Cincinnati NAACP put out its own statement saying, "We are extremely concerned that the video footage appears to have been used to bring potential participants in the brawl to face consequences, and not the individual who appears to have been the verbal and physical initiator of the incident. He has not been charged with any offense currently, and the community needs to have an answer regarding the lack of charges."
Like I said.
This is the first witness we see officers talk with right outside of Love on 4th. An officer then questions another witness.
How many people were fighting? From what I see, it was just one guy squaring off with that guy. And how do all these other people have blood and their shirt torn?
We then hear from the guys right in the middle.
They were going after other people, and I tried to protect my girls. And there was one guy that just went nuts, and then all of a sudden, there was other people that hit me from blindside.
We see one of the victims, Holly, walking around. She's the only person from this group that's come forward.
Everybody's trying to tell him, like, oh, just go, just go, just go. And he kept going out there. The black guy saying, he has my wallet. The black guy saying, I don't have your wallet. He kept going after dude and kept telling him, no, stop, stop, stop.
I thought they took my wallet, but I do have my wallet.
One guy's shirt is torn. Another leans against this food truck with blood all over his shirt.
If you're a witness that saw what happened, it's not helpful. Look at my face.
We don't hear from the guy leaning up against the food truck. Videos posted on social media show that man slapping another guy. The guy who hit first then gets knocked to the ground where he's punched and stomped.
All we did was try to get people off each other. Every time we get people off each other and say stop, they come at us more. There was a whole mob. Obviously, I was fighting for my life to get out of there, and then I started taking pictures of everybody that was surrounded.
We don't hear any of the people indicted on this video released by the police. All 6 are African American.
If you're going to say that you're going to indict everybody that was involved, you're going to go and look to prosecute everybody that was involved, and you don't indict or prosecute the person that instigated the whole situation, that's a problem for everybody, not just us.
The black community of this city demands to be respected.
We demand the arrest of all individuals involved.
Leaders of Cincinnati's African American community directing demands at the Cincinnati Police Department, who to this point have only arrested and charged the black people allegedly involved in July's downtown melee, not any of the white people who were involved.
The riot doesn't happen until after the slap. So what incited and who incited the riot? If the riot is because of the slap, who incited the riot? And why are the only people charged, again I'll say it, are the ones who look like me?
The slap to which Pastor Damon Lynch referred was shown at the meeting. You can see a white man who police call a victim not walk away from the fight, but apparently invite a fight with one black man. Then you see the same Caucasian man reach out and slap a different black man, while another white man who was with him yells the N-word several times. All this before the white guy is knocked to the ground and beaten and stomped.
He re-engages, he walks back into the ring and slaps not the guy that he was just squaring up with, but actually slaps a guy he had earlier squared up with. And I'm asking myself, how many black men did you think you were going to whoop that night?
Present at the meeting, State Representative Cecil Thomas and Cincinnati Councilman Scotty Johnson, both former CPD investigators.
What could possibly be taking so long to make a decision on prosecution?
I don't know. Because honestly, we've solved homicides in 2 weeks. So I don't know, David. That's a great question. That's a question for the police department. I don't know. As a former investigator, between us two right here, you talk 30 years of investigations, specifically with the city of Cincinnati. I don't know.
The method by which this situation has been handled raises serious questions as to whether there's bias involved in the investigation.
One person mentioned at the meeting that even the woman named Holly, who was infamously knocked unconscious in the incident, is seen pushing a black man right before she gets decked by another black man. These are the 6 people who have been arrested, all African American. Most are still in jail awaiting trial.
It's a mess. It is a mess.
We watch different angles of the now infamous downtown fight with defense attorney Jay Clark. He breaks down the case for charging the man seen throwing the slap.
If the white guy in a white shirt slapping whoever, black, red, it doesn't matter what color the guy is, that guy's allowed to defend himself. The guy in a white shirt started it. So now he can use reasonable force to defend himself. If you're in danger of imminent, if you think you're going to be hurt, you're not going to slap somebody. It would be an attack to defend yourself. The way he slaps him like this is, to me, he's being the initial aggressor.
And the case for not charging.
I don't think there's a very strong one, but you could make the argument that when you watch from before where we are here, the guy in the white shirt and the guy in the black had been squaring off with each other. That kind of ends. And then the guy in red comes up and approaches him. And he could have had a belief, whether it's reasonable or not would be up to a jury, that he thought the guy in red was going to hurt him or do him physical harm.
Clark says he's not surprised those charges haven't been filed.
If they do, that undermines every other charge they filed, because that looks to me like where all of this started in terms of the physical fight. And if he caused the situation, all those other people have a much easier self-defense argument. Should he have been charged? I think 100%.
Regardless of what else happened, Clark says legally each altercation needs to be separate.
I don't know how long they've had this video, but if they've had it more than a day or two and they haven't charged him, they're not going to charge him. Because they've seen it, they know what's in it, and in theory, maybe they know what happened that preceded the smack.
And he still comes to the same conclusion.
it's just a mess. It's a mess for everybody involved in it.
The president of Cincinnati's police union is accusing politicians of pressuring police to file charges.
Yeah, I mean, I know the investigators have sat in meetings with city leadership. They've laid out all of the evidence, but yet we still have council members that are insisting that victims be charged of a crime, and it's just not there. We have to follow the law, and that's what they're doing. Like I said, this is all stems from, the investigators provide their investigation to prosecutors, and the prosecutors ultimately make the determination, and they've said that we don't have probable cause to charge anybody else at this time.
Scotty Johnson is one of the council members who spoke out this morning.
First and foremost, being an investigator for 12, 13 years, we cross-reference victims and suspects all the time. Nobody's putting pressure on anybody. This is not revolutionary. This is just about trying to do the right thing.
Kober says investigators are still working to identify more people seen on the video.
You concerned at all that the city is at a tipping point when it comes to race relations over this and racial tension?
There's no doubt that when you're leading a city this size, that is this diverse, racial issues are always going to come up. We're no stranger to that in Cincinnati. But what gives me confidence for our ability to move forward is our history.
That's Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Purival, referring to the increased racial tensions brought out by the footage of last month's downtown street brawl and the subsequent reactions. He referred to how the city previously responded to racial tensions, including in the early 2000s, when racial unrest spurred riots and eventually a collaborative agreement between the city, the police, and community groups to guide policing going forward. Purival also addressed allegations made by black leaders Monday that outside influences are pressuring he and the administration to make certain decisions, including whether to charge others involved in the brawl.
Myself, the city manager, the chief, we do not respond to pressure. We respond to, number one, what is in the best interest of the city of Cincinnati.
As for what should happen to others involved in the fight who have yet to be charged, including a white man seen in some videos slapping others on the street, Purival says everyone who participates should be charged, but that it's in the hands of police investigators.
What I have said from the very beginning is that if you were involved in the fight, we have to hold you accountable. Ultimately, this was, a drunken street fight at 3 a.m. That cannot happen in Cincinnati, and we have to hold everyone accountable.
It's a powder keg. It's a powder keg.
The attorney for the latest African-American man arrested for what police are calling a riot is referring to the potential explosive situation building in Cincinnati. 32-year-old Gregory Wright appearing for his arraignment this morning.
While a gentleman's getting pummeled on the ground, like literally beaten in the face, we have video of Mr. Wright reaching up, grabbing a hold of the neck of the victim and jerking a chain off of his neck.
But what the judge did in the midst of the arraignment may speak volumes to the rising tension in the city.
Can we send a couple of deputies to the outside so to make sure that while I conduct this hearing, that everyone understands that everyone is to be cool, to keep their cool?
7 people have now been arrested for the melee at 4th and Elm, all of them African American, none of them from the group of 6 Caucasian people police are calling victims.
We as a city have blown this.
Cincinnati City Councilman Scotty Johnson.
It's time to make these charges.
And Vice Mayor Jan Michelle Lemon Kearney spoke out yesterday at a meeting of black community leaders demanding all of those involved in the incident be charged, not just the black people. They were reacting to video showing one of the white victims yelling the N-word while the other appears to be gesturing for a fight, then slapping a black man before getting knocked to the ground. The remarks prompted the president of the police union, Ken Kober, to post, "Elected officials playing politics and attempting to override the professional judgment of law enforcement or prosecutors is a very dangerous precedent that undermines the rule of law." The defense attorney for that 7th suspect saying what's dangerous is how police are conducting this investigation.
If, in fact, you start out with the narrative that they're quote-unquote victims just based upon what you've seen in a video, that's a problem.
Vice Mayor responded to the FOP criticism, saying the actions of the white people involved appear to be the proximate cause of the violence, and they should be charged, ending with, "We should push for justice and not turn against each other." Police administration and the prosecutor's office say that they will not comment on this ongoing investigation.
Right now, the temperature is continuing to rise in the community.
State Representative Cecil Thomas feels that's because of the lack of information surrounding the investigation.
If you got everything short.
We're getting a look at another angle of the fight. This shows the guy in red throwing a punch.
Now see, this guy's breaking him up. That's over now. Now the fight's over. And you're gonna see a black guy arm around this white guy, holding him to keep him from going any further.
All of this before the slap by the guy in white. We showed the video to Thomas, who says his opinion is not changing. He's still calling for the man seen throwing the slap to be charged.
I believe they rushed to charge these individuals without realizing that there was a lot more information out there.
It is important that there's an opportunity for everybody to have their fair day in court, and we're not feeling that way right now.
The video also isn't changing David Whitehead's mind.
It doesn't change my perspective because there's been very credible witnesses, and there's been things shown where the man that did the slap was the aggressor, and he had continued to be the aggressor up until the point where the fight started.
Show us the pictures. Show us the video. That's all. But as long as you don't show us the video, the temperature in the community is continue to rise.
One by one, the suspects were led in front of the judge. Assistant Prosecutor Kip Guinan would announce their current bond and then ask the judge to keep or reconsider that amount given additional charges the grand jury indicted each person on. Now, the 6 people are facing 2 counts of aggravated rioting, 3 counts of felonious assault, and 3 counts of assault. Attorneys for each defendant argue that their clients were being overcharged and the bonds in the $200,000 to $300,000 range were extreme.
Aggravated rioting is the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol. That's a riot. When you get together, you assemble, and you plan to commit a crime. That's not what happened down on 4th Street, Judge. So the weight of the evidence and the nature of the circumstances against this defendant for aggravated rioting is weak.
The defense attorneys all claim the charges and high bond requests were racially and politically motivated, but Guinan adamantly defended the charges, saying it's offensive for such allegations to be made.
Several defense counsels said that racial epithets were thrown at these people. That was 1 minute and 47 seconds into this brutal beatdown. Were the words said? Yes. Were they inappropriate? Absolutely. But these poor people were being assaulted, stomped, WWE style elbow drops onto pavement. One woman was knocked out to the point that her head hit the pavement. We could be here on a homicide.
The assistant prosecutor also told the court there are new videos that have not been seen by the public that will further show the severity of the attack.